Long day lay low. I love my intros. Determination, that's right, determination. We are determined here in Comicsgate, in the indie comic scene, to put out the best quality products that we possibly can for you, the fans, for the backers. Welcome, everybody. I'm Jason Bascom. And we're going to be talking to Anthony and Liz about Lightbringer. But before we do, we're going to bring on our co-host. This is her first time. She's a noob to the StreamYards. Yeah, Angela Curry. What's going on?
Hello. Hi, Jason.
Hello. How you doing?
Hello, everyone.
Everyone, all 0 people. But they could be watching.
In a future stream, someone will be watching, so.
True.
Yeah.
We get replays.
That's true.
So, yes. And thank you so much for doing this. I know I thanked you like a million times already, but I can't thank you.
No,
Piper,
I'm glad I could help out.
Yeah, Piper is usually the co-host for these. She's in bed. She's recovering from the twerking from the smut that I sent her, the gay smut books that I had provided her. So no, Piper's doing well though, so she's recovering, and we wish you well, Wolf Mama.
Yes.
So, but without further, and we got Angela here. She's gonna help out with the chat. So if you're watching right now or in the future or whatever, and you come in, I will say so. She's gonna highlight the chat. If you have any questions, she will be more than happy to ask them for you, and she'll be asking questions as well. So, and without further gillying the nillies, as I like to say, because I don't know what it means. We got the Lightbringer crew. We got Mr. Dark Gift from Anthony Comics. I said that right?
Yeah, that's basically right.
We got Liz. What's going on?
Hello. Mr. Anthony from Dark Gift.
Mr. Anthony from Dark Gift Comics. Yes. Yeah, so, I mean, I've known Anthony for a bit. And, we've been on a few streams together. He's helped me out in the past and stuff. But I'm not privy to as much with Liz. I've seen you on his streams here and there, and I know of Lightbringer 1. But what got you kind of into, not like, what made you want to do the comics thing? Like, I mean, I know it's not really a foray people get into, like, for, like, a money-making thing. It's kind of a passion. So what got you into that?
Exactly. So, as for my own self, I work in finance all day. I do numbers in Excel spreadsheets and everything else.
Screams comic books. What are you talking about?
Right. So for me, it's a question of indulging my creative side that gets neglected otherwise. And there was a video that Razor Fist, a YouTuber who does some fun rants, but he kind of had a video that was all about returning to pulp. Given that the comic book industry is so awful and given that everything is woke and how everything is compromised, it was about, okay, well, if you want quality, then you have to make it yourself. It's the Iron Age. It's the goal is to return back to heroic stories. And so I had the idea of Lightbringer. It had existed as an idea long before I, decided to get into this. And I decided that, the enough waiting, enough kind of putting it off or delaying on this. And so, I had to put my shoulder to the wheel and get it done. So, so for me, I like to write. So,
nice. So were you more of a novel fan than more like a comic book fan? Because that's a nerdy thing. Not everybody's into it growing up. So were you like more just like a book person? More than
I was actually more of a tabletop role-playing game person. So back over 10 years ago, I used to belong to a website called Channel Awesome, or That Guy with the Glasses. And I used to do tabletop role-playing game reviews. So I did the second edition AD&D Black Book tabletop games when I was like 8 or 9 years old.
Yeah, we did second edition. Yeah.
So ever since that point, I've always, Warhammer Fantasy, for the D6 Star Wars, World of Darkness, and then tons of indie games. So I always enjoyed, just the choose your own adventure style of things. And I do, as you say, enjoy stories. I like to write. So I've written short stories. I've written some unpublished, crappy novels that they do for National Novel Writing Month, stuff like that it never really amounts to much. But I do have a creative side, and I needed to realize that. So.
Nice. And we got some people popping in the chat. We'd like to say hello to Angela. If you could highlight those fine people that have joined us right now. Who we got? Angela. Who are they? Say their names, please.
I'm trying. Got it.
Who are they? Is it? My eyes are really blurry, so.
It's Edwin. Edwin is has joined the chat. So hello, Edwin.
On, Ace. Just so far as the Ace, so make sure you share this out and hit that like button. Yeah, so D&D role playing games, they are a very nerd like culture as it is. Anyway.
Yes.
So you kind of were already involved in that scene.
Oh yeah.
And and like I said, I've known Anthony for a while, and now Anthony, you're a musician on top of like being on top of all the gamuts that you do in Comicsgate and in indie comics and comic books in itself in the art field. What kind of came first then? Was it like, were you like as a kid, were you more drawn to music and then the artwork came after, or was it vice versa?
Vice versa.
So you love the artwork in the comics and whatever it may not be, and then the music followed.
Yeah. It was up until I was about 16, it was all about trying to become a comic book artist. And I always dabbled with music. You know, I started playing sax as a kid, piano, started teaching myself guitar. And then the November Rain video came out, and Slash walked out of that church and ripped a guitar solo, and it was all over. It was all over. And art went on the back burner. Like, I did some Flash designs and stuff over the years, but then, like, there was a good 12 years where I didn't pick up a pencil until Comicsgate. Wow. Yeah. So I'm playing catch up with my old self right now. Yeah.
So like what sparked you into that comic book like realm though as a kid? Do you remember like the first book you even got?
Well, I do actually. It was a Captain America comic, and I wasn't even that wasn't even what triggered me into collecting comics, but it was what triggered me into wanting to draw. And I was tracing.
Do you know who the artist was? You don't have to if you don't.
Off the top of my head, I can't remember.
Okay.
I can remember the cover because I was tracing the cover, and and this is how you know I wasn't into comics at the time, because I was tracing the cover, and my grandfather was like, "That's not how you trace." He's like, "Put the paper under the picture," and he gave me a ballpoint pen, and he told me to outline the drawing. So I'm actually drawing on the cover of the comic.
And then, you're a kid, you're not thinking of collectability. You're thinking of coolness. You know, that's right. What you're thinking of. Yeah.
And then, you know, when you pull the paper out, it just has an indent on the page, right? And he takes the comic and he throws it over his shoulder, and he's like, "Now draw it from memory. Fill it in and draw it from memory." And that's how I kind of got on my little path. But the comics that got me into actual comics, like collecting, was X-Men number 147.
Ooh, what's that one?
That one was the it was like actually right in the middle of a storyline. It had Magneto on the cover. It was I think
you don't have to remember, dude. It's okay.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact storyline. I just remember that was the one that my buddy, I saw him reading it on the bus, and he let me read it. And I just remember the number, because then from there, he's like, "You know, there's a comic book shop like 5 minutes from our house." And I was like, "Get out of town." So jump on our bikes, head over to this comic shop I'd never been to. And like from there, I like literally went and bought like every issue that I could afford at the time, from 147 all the way through the current issue, which I couldn't remember what that was at the time. And then we were there every day. And then the guy offered us, you know, we were 12, 13 years old, and he offered us jobs, but, you know, we can't work legally. So, $6 an hour in store credit in 1987 was a lot of money at the time, dude. Yeah, for 75-cent dollar comics, I was walking out of there with 100 comics every week.
Oh, wow.
You know, so
lucky you.
Yeah, so that was the snowball.
And if you're just joining us in the chat, you know, thank you. Hit the like, share, and subscribe. Angela Curry, the great Angela Curry, is here to highlight your comments, to say hello, and also ask your questions if you have any for Anthony or Liz, and for Angela as well. If you want to ask her something, she can speak. She has voices that sometimes will permeate from behind the.
I try.
Logo. There it is.
Hi.
No, she's new to this, everybody, so be gentle. Liz, what like you loved writing and stuff like that? What were some of your like influences? What sparked you? What was like the first things that really caught you, that made you that creative bug to make you write?
Oh God! I mean, I used to write short stories when I was a really little kid. I remember reading the first boxcar children's stories, and the second one in the series, Surprise Island, that's kind of what got me. I must have been maybe 7 or 8, and I started to write about a series of islands, and there was a big spiky monster that lived in the ocean. And there was some kind of like magical sword quest or something like that. That kind of got me going. Fantasy has always been a soft spot in my heart. So, yeah, no, I always enjoyed. Once I get inspired, it's very easy to put pen to paper and either write, God forbid, fan fiction. But, yeah.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, Anthony, too, like in a way, we're all doing, in a way, fan fiction. We're driving from stuff that have came before. It's inspired us. It's motivated us to put something forward. And I mean, are there any new ideas, or is it all like a fan-based thing that we're mushing together? I mean, who's to say? Because things have been done and told so many times that very rarely do you have that spark of like, this is a complete 100% original concept. So in a way, everything is kind of a fan fiction with altered names and concepts, but it's still all there. I mean,
well, of course.
Yeah. So it's and there's something about it though. It sparks us. It makes us want to do it, and that creative flow. We can't explain it. We just have to do it. It's kind of like a narcotic, a healthy one at that.
Well,
so
it's like music, right? I mean, like the same 8 chords have been played in different progressions over the years, and yeah, basically what you're doing is you're just taking those same 8 chords and trying to make it your own in some weird way. You know what I mean? Like, some unique way. So same thing with art and storytelling. You're just kind of taking these influences that have come before you and like taking them in and then putting them back out in your own unique way, hopefully without being too derivative,
Yeah. And speaking of influence, Anthony, like what were some of your like artistic, like I know you write too, you edit, you do a lot of things, but what were some of your, and you do music obviously, what were some of your artistic influences though as far as drawing and pen to paper and pencil to paper?
Early on, honestly, it was the He-Man cartoons, the the Funimation. That's what started me. Like, I remember saying I want to do that. And then that's when I started trading, and that's when I got the Captain America comic. But then, as far as when I got into comics, I would say it was John Byrne was probably one of the first ones that like really caught my eye as far as like standing out amongst the crowd,
Right.
And then of course going into the 90s, you had the McFarlane is my all time, was my all time favorite. But McFarlane, Jim Lee, Whilst Portacio. Who was that other guy that had Hellstorm?
Oh, Jay Lee.
Jay Lee.
Hellshock. Yeah.
Hellshock. Yeah. Thank you. Hellshock. Yeah. Those guys were like big. But one that like no one ever really mentions, but also was a heavy influence on me was Norm Breyfogle.
Oh, nice. Dude, I say Breyfogle. I don't know how you pronounce it, but...
I don't know either.
Dude, I said Travis Charest for the longest time, so I mean, it's Charest, whatever. So, if you talk to Billy Basco, he'll purposely mispronounce people's last names, so he says, like, Greg Capullo, huh? I'm like, he knows it, he doesn't get under my skin, but... Yeah, no, and that I do. Yeah, Norm Breyfogle was fantastic. I mean, come on, So I don't blame you for that. And those are some great influences to have. And as you said, like for the most part, I'm not speaking for everyone, but you and I know of Anthony we're middle aged, so we kind of grew up in that '90s era. But we also did have that touch of that classic Neil Adams, John Byrne influence, and from the '80s because like that was still there. Like,
Arthur Adams,
Art Adams,
was a
dude,
big one,
dude, Art T. Bear. So I mean, come on. Hey, what's going on, CG? What's going on, man? Good to see you. Like, share, subscribe. If you have a question, Angela will ask it, by the way, because my eyes suck and I can't read the chat. So she blessed me with her presence. Piper is there too, who's my normal co-host in the chat. What's up, Wolf Mama? So yeah, but like we grew up during that like image boom, that indie like explosion, and indie was popular before them with like Turtles, obviously. Eastman and Laird kind of brought it to the forefront in a way, but it was always around. You had Crumb, you had all these legends like back in the day that people kind of were like the I call it an underground scene, and it is kind of what we are in a way, and it's just something that it's kind of but it comes to the forefront. It's weird how it always just emerges. Like Image just killed it. It crushed it and made it big. What made like you to be like, hey, yeah, I want to go indie. I don't want to really try to worry. I want to publish my own thing. I don't want to worry about having to worry about like Image Comics even, or like I understand wanting to own your own IP, but like you go through Dark Horse, you can go through Image. What made you guys want to be like, hey, not just CG itself, but indie comic self-publishing is where it's at?
I'll let Liz, you want to go first?
Sure. I mean, I think in the end, the problem that I see a lot of the time with most mainstream comics or even other produced comics is that they're incredibly political. You're not allowed to tell certain stories unless you hit specific boxes. What matters what matters the most to them is your identity or, marginal characteristics or physical characteristics about yourself rather than the merit of your own story. What I like about indie comics, or at least Comicscape, for better or for worse, it's the free market deciding if it's good or not. Instead of trying to astroturf somebody up to the top, instead of taking an IP or a company that has existed for many years and has all the resources in the world to try to promote something, even if it's not good, you sink or swim based on your own merits. And I think that's the spirit of entrepreneurship. And as a result of without being editorialized or without a mandate from on high, you're free to tell the stories that inspire you. You're free to say, this may not appeal to the target demographic that you're looking for, but it has a small niche that might want to read about it. So it enables you the freedom that you otherwise wouldn't have. And moreover, as a side note, it's nice that we as independent creators are able to support one another. So it's a lot more down to earth, familial, communal, instead of the cold, unfeeling corporate machine.
Right.
So, that's kind of one of the reasons it appealed to me to do it myself.
Nice.
So,
Nice. Anthony?
So I actually kind of dipped out of comics for a little while. I think the last I held on to Batman till like about 2002, and then and then the New 52 happened, and I was out because like I started noticing like just the story started getting like contrived and stuff. It wasn't even like political. At least I wasn't noticing if it was. You know what I mean? Right. Back then, but like in the late 90s, even going into the early like. They ripped Wolverine's adamantium out and he started looking like a monkey. You know what I mean? Like I didn't understand what they were doing anymore. It was just like they were just throwing shit at the wall to see what would stick because I think of Image.
Ripping the adamantium, that's fine, but making him look the way he did, like just, I don't know, that was dumb, yeah. But then, and then you were saying, but Image?
I think Marvel and DC were scrambling because of Image. Like, even though Image had its own problems, I think they overreacted. Like their reaction to it was an overreaction, and like they just started like really like trying to get anybody that drew like McFarlane and Larson. Basically, they were like any wannabe copycat artist. They threw on a book, and then they just threw these stupid stories in there. So like '02, I dipped out. But my buddy, the guy that I told you about that I've known him since we were kids, he's the one that got me into comics, he kept reading, right? So every now and then we'd hang out and I'd ask, so what's going on? What, keep me up to date. And I would read the traditional CBRs and all this stuff. And like, I'm just watching like what's going on. And even though I wasn't collecting or really reading hardcore, I'm like, what is going on with comics at this point? And then I have to say, like, it was right around when The Last Jedi came out that I started like looking at YouTube, and then I found your boy Zach, and I found Captain Cummings and Ethan through the Star Wars stuff, and then I realized I knew Ethan as a comic book artist, even though I wasn't collecting during that time period.
Right.
My buddy was, and I remember seeing his name and his art, so now I had a face to put to the, you know what I mean? Like it was like I was being reintroduced, and then I saw this uprising going, and I was like, so I'm not the only one that's fighting this crazy right now, like,
right?
And these are people that are actually still in it, and so that kind of brought me back.
Nice.
Yeah, my first comic book I bought since 2002 was Jawbreakers.
Oh, nice! Man.
That's great.
Yeah. See, like I kind of agree with you. Like I saw something was off, but I didn't know what it was. Like when I was,
Mm-hmm.
I dipped out too for a long time. That wasn't because of I lost interest or anything. Just because like life happened. I started going out, hanging out in bars and doing that. You know, I did comics went by the wayside, but I started up with the New 52. But the only thing I bought was Batman because of Capullo. You know, because of Greg Capullo. I love the artwork, so I was like, yeah, I gotta get this. It was cool stuff. But yeah, and like CG, indie, call it what you will. Like we're in Comicsgate, and for anyone who don't know, we're watching streaming to Facebook as well. Comicsgate to me is a fan based movement. It's because people really want to get good stories and good artwork, and not have to worry about a political agenda or you know just garbage, really, like or cookie cutter artwork. That's a great thing. Like your style, like you have a certain style, Anthony, with your artwork. Like you developed it, like, and you're still working on it as I'm working on mine. And as artists, we constantly grow. You don't really like. You might like plateau a little bit, but eventually you're like, I want to change it up and you do something different. So you're constantly learning and growing. So like, how do you feel as an artist as to where you are? Like right now with Lightbringer, and we will bring up Lightbringer too. But right now you're inking Lightbringer, but you also did some artwork for the first campaign too. So how far do you think you are in your art stages? Because you went to art school as well, didn't you?
I did. I went for animation. I like I said, I'm playing catch up.
Do you think it helped?
No.
Let me ask that.
No.
Okay, I agree. Because I went to art school too.
I had fun. Don't get me wrong.
I
It was
had
cool
great
getting.
teachers. I had great teachers.
Yeah. Teachers were cool. As we all know, me and Christopher John apparently went to school together, and didn't know until we bumped back into each other here in Comicsgate, and like it didn't even recognize it. It's so funny. He was so clean cut back then, and I was the long haired, freaky looking dude, and now we swapped. Yeah. And so I didn't recognize him. He didn't recognize me until we were telling that story on your stream, and he's like, "Wait a minute, what year was this?"
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, it's an old stream, and a good friend of ours, Christopher John, who's had artwork on Absolute, and he's also going to be doing something for Frog G trading card, but phenomenal artist. I mean, the guy's a killer, but he's a family man, so he's always busy. But he was on a stream with Anthony one time, and apparently they didn't know it, but they actually went to school together and knew each other.
Oh, God.
It was hilarious. Like, so such a small world. Like even Angela is from my state, and I didn't even know that. You know, so and so. What?
Right. What?
So yeah, so it's kind of a small world the way this whole weird comics community is, or I like to say scene. I don't really like to call it a community because, as you said, Liz, like we're all independent creators, and we all are propping each other up. Like we're all promoting each other, but we all got skin in this game. We all want to we're competing, but also cooperating. It's a great I don't know, symbiotic relationship. It's wonderful.
Well, it's funny when you mentioned you know there was something that something was off, but you didn't really know how to, put your finger on it.
Well, and I even saw even with female Thor, I was like, I love the artwork, but something about this is just trash. And I'm like, it's because it's I don't know what it is. It's because Thor, if they called her Thorina or a different name maybe, because different people wielded the hammer, but they didn't call themselves Thor. You had Thunderstrike, you had Beta Ray Bill, you had Draco, the future Thor. Even Frog Thor wasn't called Thor. So they didn't call him just Thor because Thor is his name. It's there's other Jasons in the world, but he's the Norse god of thunder. So it's just it was kind of you just couldn't pinpoint it. Eventually, my collection dived and just my pull would stop.
Yeah, they tried to take his name and make it a title like Superman, right? Or Batman,
come on, Mister. Yeah, and it's.
I kind of noticed that happened with tabletop games actually. So part of my own history too is my first kind of real exposure to identifying the political aspect of it was when I actually volunteered at a sexual assault helpline, and part of that training process we actually had a part where we were supposed to talk about privilege, and we were supposed to talk about. Check your privilege and all this other stuff. I was like, what are you talking about? What does this have to do with helping
it has nothing
people?
to do with helping people,
And, for tabletop games, for example, when I was a part of Channel Awesome, I had gamed with a young lady there and who would go on to write for White Wolf. She actually wrote for the 5th edition Vampire the Masquerade, and I knew that Jason Carl was the producer for the fifth edition, Vampire Masquerade. The problem, though, is that all this stuff was incredibly woke. My friend, as I would later find out, wrote the trigger warning at the very beginning, and she actually also wrote the anti-alt-right, rants at the back. And I kept wondering to myself, what does this have to do with vampire stuff? And it was a pity as well, because Jason Carl was the line producer, or at least he wrote a lot of the third edition Dungeons and Dragons supplements for 3.0, which was my favorite system. So it was really disturbing in a way to sort of see this stuff be infiltrated, and then just have them through the the backing of the money, the audiences, the networks, the marketing, all of that stuff. They have this big machine behind them, but they don't own your imagination.
Right.
And I discovered that the only way that if I ever really wanted to make my own tabletop game or get involved with that, was essentially to play ball with a set of political beliefs that I find really repugnant. And it's not that I think that people shouldn't, we should treat people bad. No, it has nothing to do with that. But it has everything to do with saying, oh, well, your skin color determines whether or not you are allowed to, like I said, have a superhero that has to be a certain skin color. They have to emphasize sexuality in this way.
Yeah.
We need to mandate that certain characters are going to be more heroic over others based upon physical characteristics. And that is a form of censorship and a form of tyranny.
Yeah, and censorship is obviously something I am like. I'm not big on like the political thing. It's hard for me to even notice political stuff sometimes. It's like you were saying. Like I even noticed there's something wrong. I didn't know what it was. But when it comes to censorship, I could see it a mile away, and I'm like, yeah, that's just wrong.
It is.
People have voices in this country anyway. We should be allowed to say what we want and show what we want, and in that regard. And yeah, now self-censorship is different from censorship itself. So there are those lines, and like Frog G, it's an all ages book. We're self-censoring ourselves because we want to appeal to a mass audience. Now you don't have to. Absolute was not. Lightbringer may not be for every individual in every tier, and that's fine. That's more than great. But you guys are putting out what you want. Like you're not being told what
exactly.
To do.
Exactly.
So, yeah, and me, like a political regard, it's if you could spot it, it's wrong. Like if you do it right though, you shouldn't even be able to see that it's there.
Exactly.
Like Captain America in general and in and of itself is a political thing, but you don't notice it. Like he's like, "What are you doing, Anthony?"
That's not me.
Who is that? Is that you?
That's Angela.
What happened?
Angela, what are you doing? What are you doing?
What did I do?
There's a lot of like scratching noise coming from your microphone.
Oh no. I'm sorry. I might have moved. I think I switched positions. Sorry.
Oh, you're okay.
I'm now.
I thought Anthony was ripping paper up or something. Really? Anthony, you're left. No, you're fine. Angela.
That's funny. Okay. Hey.
You're good. We're okay. We're all good. Everybody back Lightbringer.
I did have a question. I did have a question.
No, go.
I was curious. How did you guys meet? How did you find each other?
Do you want me to tell the story, or do you want to?
Well, you can tell from your point of view, but let me tell from my point of view.
Go for it.
Well, kind of going back to what Jason had asked about, like my art style, like where I find myself. Like I said, I've been playing catch up, right? With my if I show you some of my stuff from years ago, it's way better than the stuff I'm putting out now.
I mean, way worse than you were putting out now.
No, it's way better.
Stuff from years ago was better?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So I'm sorry, man. Go ahead.
But when I got back into the game, like I always drew in one certain style. So that I'm to kind of like speed up the process. I'm playing with different styles. So this way, when I actually do my normal style, I hopefully will be back up. So like when I did the Wart the Wizard Ashcan, I toyed around with a cartoon style, which I never done. With Hunting Alice and the Roulette Ashcan, I'm toying with a pulp indie kind of style, like a little more like non traditional. With the stuff that I did, like with the cover and the trading card that that I've done for Lightbringer, that's a little bit more my normal style. and it's so it's getting up there. But so jumping back in, I was a little like, okay, let me just test the waters with this. And we're going through the hunting Alice thing and everything like that, and then I get an email out of the blue, and I thought it was like a spam email. And it's this like very long, I shouldn't say long, but it was a very thorough, well-written email about basically a pitch about who Liz was and where Channel Awesome, which I had no clue about any of this stuff. The original Lightbringer, the original creator of the Lightbringer, how it wound up being in public domain, and her thing. And she gave me a little backstory on how she was canceled for political beliefs, and she did some research on doing comics and found Comicsgate and realized that we're basically uncancelable here, right? You could try to cancel us. The only people that can cancel us here is us, right? Like, it's the free market, right? So, and she just had no clue about how to go about doing any of this, and she needed basically a, for lack of a better term, publisher. And so I responded, and asked to do a meet. So we did a private video chat, and we chatted, and her passion for everything and like the way she wanted and the story that she broke down, and said, let me see some script pages, and they were awesome. And I said, and I'm like, am I ready for this? And then I said, I used to tell my sister and brother-in-law, because they'd always make excuses for like why they haven't had kids yet. And I'm like, if you keep making excuses, you'll just never be ready. You'll never do it, right? So I said, I should take my own advice. So here we are, a year and a half later, going on book 2. So, but if you want to, explain how you found me and
Awesome.
got.
So, one of the things, so I got canceled in a way. So let me explain that one friend that I had mentioned, right? Well, I wanted to reach out to her and kind of talk with her about her experiences with, writing for White Wolf or writing for tabletop games, because I have those chops, right? I've got that background. And this friend, as it turned out, was incredibly woke. And as I mentioned before, I had volunteered at a sexual assault helpline. I'm about a semester or two shy of having the full certifications to be a police officer. Oh, wow. And there was a time I wanted to be a police officer. And I'm post-op trans. So I don't really fit into a very easy box, but I wanted, to kind of help people. And I've done that whole thing. Well, I spoke with my friend, and we were talking about, what they call a SARS examination. So if you've been sexually assaulted, put your clothes in a paper bag, and you've got 5 days to go to the hospital and get that examination done, right? Because it's very difficult to prove sexual assault and rape in court. So you need physical evidence. You need a police report. These are things that you kind of need to establish, right? So I told her to that. And this was during the time where it was, the believe all women sort of thing. And she interpreted me saying that you are innocent until proven guilty, and it's difficult to prove sexual assault and rape in court to, I guess, condoning it. Because her exact words were, I don't feel safe in giving you the contact person for the tabletop game that I am the most interested in. That woman's name is Rose Bailey. Rose Bailey is the main producer, or was, for Vampire Requiem, which is a different version of it. And she's also a trans woman. So I got blocked out. I got blacklisted effectively. And it was very unsettling, because it was like, what just happened? Right? Like, I'm not this vindictive monster that you seem to think I am. I'm just what? So I realized that, whether or not I want to be, I am in a political fight that I don't have any desire to participate on. So I realized that if I do want to pursue anything creative, I'm going to have to go indie. But the problem is I don't know any of this stuff, right? Like, I'm an outsider. I'm a brand new person. I don't even have an artist. All I know how to do is write. I can do scripting, but I don't know what it takes to fulfill. I don't know what it takes to, what the time frame is like, what I can expect, all this other minutia. And so that's when I started to look around and say, well, maybe there's a producer I can work with. And I saw Anthony's contact. I did some research for what I could, and I reached out to him. So at first, it didn't get a response, so I tried a second time, and then just as I was about to kind of look around,
spam.
Yeah. Well, it was funny because I think both of us were like, "Well, shoot, what is legit here, right?" We're both fumbling in the dark. Is this person legit? Am I legit? Can we actually make this happen? Or maybe for all I know, Anthony is a scam artist, right?
Yeah,
there's all these things you don't know.
Yeah.
So, I'm really proud to say though that Anthony's been a gem. Like everybody who is considering doing this, I would highly recommend you work with him. Because there's a lot of this stuff that as far as getting streams and getting the community, you definitely need a Sherpa, so to speak, to get to Mount Everest. It just ended up working out really, really well. So I want to see how far we can go.
He's the best fence sitter I know.
So the saying goes.
Anthony, just kidding. Yeah, it's a little joking, but no, and that you mentioned like when it comes to like you hit this total stranger up, like you didn't know what was gonna happen, you didn't know. But what is good about that though is with what we're doing too, like you didn't know the guy, but you could look through the history of like YouTube. You could look at his website. Which I didn't link, but hopefully a model dropped that. You could look through all these histories and be like, okay, well this guy actually has books out. Like he's working on a product. He's known amongst all these other people. He seems he's got to be kind of at least a little legit.
Right.
And stuff like that. So, and you roll the dice. You like Anthony said, you take a chance. You have to eventually stop maybe making excuses and be like, all right, it's now or never. And that's even how it worked out with me with Absolute. Like I heard Ethan say and Malin, they're all like, if you're gonna launch a book, do it now. Don't wait. Launch it. Like if you have get a little bit done or whatever, but launch your book. Do it now. Don't procrastinate. I was like, you know what? They're right. Well, I'm not gonna worry about Image or Dark Horse or anything. I'm gonna just do it. And so I did. And you, like you did, you're like, I got to do this. And so you met somebody and you looked in the repertoire. You could always look in their history. So yeah, it's cool that we can do that with this history of YouTube, because you could look through the past. Now Twitter's different. I could go through somebody's Twitter feed and I might think they're legit and they could be a bot. You never know. With YouTube, you see them streaming and interacting with people. You could kind of get a good idea whether or not they're a total tool or if they're actually legit, So it's a nice atmosphere that we have going on here, and I love it. And we kind of prop each other up too, and also tear each other down. It's fun. But and that's great that you took a chance. And look what happened when you did. Lightbringer, the first one, it launched, it funded, it got out, and now you're on number 2, and that's fantastic. That's right. And as you mentioned, the fulfillment process, oh man, that's a pain. Like shipping things out and stuff is very
tedious. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, and now Anthony, as you mentioned, you have Hunting Alice, which you are working on now. We're not going to talk about that, but you have Hunting Alice, so you did that, and you're working on everything with Hunting Alice now. With Lightbringer, the first one, what did you do? What was like your main job?
I was essentially the publisher and letterer. And an editor, but I kind of goofed on the file, so that was my bad. But you live and you learn, right? Rookie mistake. But all the digital backers got the right edited file. But so that was basically it. Like I did the variant cover. It was basically the only artistic thing that I did. As far as creative process, otherwise it was strictly Liz and she hired Vic King at the time to do book 1, and that was basically all them. I just handled the business aspect of everything. Like I handled the campaign, so I was the campaign manager. I was the promotional vehicle. I was the guy who dealt with the printers and the vendors and all that stuff.
Did you do the trailers too? Because you work on music and you can do that kind of stuff. Did you do that as well?
Did all the video editing and all that stuff. Yep.
What would you say is the thing you like doing the most, since you dabbled in everything?
I do enjoy. This must be the management from being in the restaurant business and managing restaurants and stuff. I do enjoy the business side of it. I don't know if I enjoy it more. Yeah, but I do. I like finding the best deals, you know, like I do this for a living, like, you know what I mean? Like when I was a bar manager, I had to find the best deal. Like, where am I going to get the next rip on 5 cases of Johnny Black? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
So like, you know, so it's like, it's kind of the same thing. Yeah. my bad boy right there. But, what you call it? You know, so like finding like the printers and like, you know, for the tapestries and the postcard prints and the posters and the trading cards and you know, dealing with those guys and making sure everything's done right and everything. That's actually I actually enjoy it, but I do enjoy the creative side of it too.
Well, yes. I mean, you're a creative person, and that goes without saying. But it's just a very uncommon answer coming from somebody who's creative. Usually, and I speak for myself as well. Business side of it is not my forte. Like I can do it, but it's like, oh, I would have to. Like it's I dread. And Liz, how accommodating is Anthony? Because you're the writer, it's your like brainchild. So how does Anthony really stifle you in any way? Do you two mesh well together?
no.
You bounce off each other?
I don't think. No, I don't think Anthony has stifled me at all, ever. Like, not once. No, he's got very good insight where, you know, if I'm not so micromanagey where I'm like, I have this idea or this thing set in my head, it must be done this way. I like to give creative freedom on a lot of stuff to kind of, you know, when it comes to blocking a page, for example. But then there's things where it's like, okay, well, this is the sketch that Dean had, and here's the inking on it. And yeah, Anthony just put some tweaks here. It's like, oh, that's perfect. And yeah, he's worth it. I mean, he's helped with the hats. He's helped with, you know, all the shipping stuff that as it came through, the tapestries, like some of this stuff I never would have even thought of even existed. Like the blacklight tapestries, I think, are amazing, and especially with the covers that we have, the first one versus the second one. It's a pretty stark difference, and I think it looks amazing under blacklight. The second one absolutely does too. So.
Yeah, and you learn through each campaign as it goes. So
So there they are in the back. The one on the left is the first campaign, and then the second one, it just it just pops. You know, it's just.
Yeah, I like the first one. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, that second one really sings. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Nice.
Yeah. And that's for me as the one thing that we're both on the same page about is that we want to produce as much quality as we can for what we're doing, right? Like I know we don't have, like you could, if you had $1 million, there's no doubt that you could get a kick-ass artist, do a bunch of marketing campaigns and do all this other stuff. But you know, for what we have, we're pushing the envelope to do as best as we can. So that's having good customer service. That's having an improvement from where we were at the first one, and just seeing that progress out in the value that we offer. So
yeah, and this is what this is. This is about the fans and getting them a high quality product.
100%.
It's the best quality product that you can possibly give them
produce
in the time allowed. Yeah, because we're like. There are campaigns that are late, don't get me wrong, and we all know what they are, but they're still quality, but we still have a time limit. Like, we still want to get out a good book and a good product, and written well, edited, and, like, there's still flaws here and there, and we learn from our mistakes. We're doing it, like, you and Anthony, all of us, we're doing it ourselves. Like, it's not like we have big corporations, like, being, like, micromanaging and doing the stuff. We're doing it, and it's not the easiest thing. Hockey, do you have questions, or are you just ribbing on people?
He's just ribbing on me. But just to bounce off that, like, the fact that Liz isn't a micromanager makes life so easy. Like, you know, like on book 1, and it worked out because we were like maybe like a month late, you know, so like giving an extra page of story. But giving like an extra page of story as like a, hey, sorry for that, you know, kind of worked out. But like there was like the way she had a page broken down, like it just made sense to do a splash page to end the scene. So it extended the book by a page. And Liz was like, yeah, cool. When I was lettering, I made like 4 tweaks to like some of her dialogue. And one was a little bit of a major one. She had one character saying something. I made another character say it, and it just made the conversation flow better because it was a 3-person conversation. So, and she was cool with it. You know what I mean? It wasn't. It wasn't like, like, no, I don't want it done that way. Blah 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 blah.
Right.
It's been really like a pleasure, and I think anybody who's been involved in the Lightbringer process has been great.
Absolutely, 100%.
It does help whenever don't get me wrong with micromanaging. Like if somebody has an idea and a concept, they really want it the way they have an envision. I get it, but it does help out a lot whenever you have a little more leniency between everyone on the campaign, and you can be like, okay, well, I appreciate you as a creator. Let's see what you can do as well. So it is nice, and we got a few minutes left because I know Anthony might have to get going soon, so we're gonna try to get as much in as we can. We got Lightbringer. Here's the campaign. Let me play the trailer for you. Let's roll that beautiful bean footage. I really appreciate how you had an audio commentary over it for the visually impaired. That was nice.
The trailer. I really like the trailer, by the way. I like the music.
Yes,
it's really beautiful.
me too.
Thank you. I'm actually, I think it's my favorite trailer so far. I mean, I've done music for other people's trailers. And some of my trailers that I've done in the past, I just used copyright-free music because I just didn't have the time to write like a piece. But that one, I actually had help with. Like, that's my buddy Matt on drums. I'm doing all the synth and keyboard work, and it's actually not even me on guitar. Another buddy of mine is the one playing the acoustic guitar on that, and helped me mix it down. And we got it done in 4 days.
Oh, nice, man! Yeah, Angela's right. It's a good trailer. Yeah.
Yeah, and I wanted to give it like a different vibe than everything's always been heavy. You know what I mean? And
it's the ambiance of it is nice. I like it.
Yeah, and I think my buddy, I don't want to say his name because he doesn't use it publicly when he's doing it. I think he's going to be putting it on some places where people could use it. So it might be a longer version of that might be out there soon. If it is, I'll let people know, and you guys could use it all day long. But I got to find out. And I did just get that link, so. I'm going to let you guys finish up here.
No, go ahead, dude. And
awesome.
We're here to pitch the book, and obviously it's Liz's book, so that actually works out.
Happy to.
I wanted to get people to know you, Anthony, and that don't know you out there, and everybody go sub to Anthony's YouTube channel, Dark Gift Comics on YouTube. His Twitter stuff is down in the information down in the description below. Good luck, Anthony, at Malin's. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to show off. You're going to see these on the campaign.
Oh, yeah.
We got the Malga hats. This is a prototype.
I got it.
It says "Make Lightbringer Great Again" with the Lightbringer logo, where the American
Nice.
flag should be.
Mhm.
Liz can explain why this.
Yes.
Why this is a middle finger to a certain somebody. She can go
Yes.
through all
Yeah,
that.
we'll,
when I
we'll
leave.
take care of that once you're gone because we don't want you here anymore.
Okay.
Nice
Thanks
to
for
meet
having
you,
us, Jay.
Anthony.
You too, Angela. It's a pleasure finally talking to you. I see you in the chats all the time,
Yeah.
so I hope to
Awesome.
see you again. And I'll catch you guys later.
Good luck,
Yeah,
Anthony.
later.
Later, man.
Have fun.
Thanks.
All right.
So,
Yes.
I don't know if this was mentioned. Who did the art for this book?
Okay, so the art for this book, at least the covers, are going to be done by Vic King. Dean, I think I can't remember his last
Dean
name.
James.
Dean James, that's right. He will be doing the art for this book, and that's because turns out Vic did a campaign for himself and Beowar,
Beowar,
and
yeah.
it was successful. So he had a lot of pages on it though. So unfortunately, he didn't have the time to do the art for this book. So we've got Dean doing it, and Anthony's doing the
nice.
inks. So
Yeah,
Comics
Anthony's
made,
doing some,
Dean?
yes,
Comics made.
Comics
Yeah.
Made Dean.
Fantastic. Okay.
That's right.
great.
So
Yeah, and not to interrupt you, Liz, but Dean also has done the Embrace. He's working on the Embrace 2. So everybody go sign up for that. That's going to be launching soon. And also, if you sign up on the Embrace 2 and back it, you will get a trading card by Inkspots and me as well. So make sure you get that. And by the way, I will have some sketch cards for this campaign too. I have to talk with Anthony a little more. So, but I will have stuff for this campaign also on Lightbringer. So keep your eyes
awesome. That's great.
out. So speaking of Lightbringer, tell us about it. What's the synopsis, the story, the elevator pitch? Give us the nitty gritty.
Sure. So the original story, as I kind of mentioned earlier, was a one of the more well panned comics in history, where there were tons of people who made fun of the original Lightbringer comic. It was on Something Awful. Bunch of trolls put their fangs into it and got it was disregarded. So the original creator of the comic book put it into public domain in 2013. So I always saw that there was a lot of potential in it, and the story about a superhero that is much more down to earth, that doesn't punch asteroids or stop life-ending events across the galaxy.
Right.
That always seems to kind of be the buildup for many superhero stories.
Yeah.
I wanted to start back down, bring Lightbringer and Pharaoh City down to a more relatable level where you have heroism and valor and inspiration, but on a much more personal level. So the story goes that Pharaoh City is a blighted Midwestern city that all the industry went out. The 2008 crash happened, and there's pretty much nobody left in town except for a single big box amalgamation of Amazon and it's called Valkyrie Mart. So Amazon
nice.
and Walmart.
Okay.
So and they're doing everything in their power to pretty much break the last of the spirit of the city, to get rid of any small business, anybody who opposes them, and essentially create a kind of wage slave mentality for anybody who works there. They want to control everything and control the town. And the first book was about setting the stage. It was about Carter Graham, our titular hero, more or less being killed, but also rising up from that and being restored as the Lightbringer, as a superhero. And the second book is about, well, for every bright light, you're going to get a pretty fierce shadow as well. So we're going to start seeing that. We saw some of the physical threats and the temporal threats from the first comic, and now we get to see some of the more supernatural ones. So
Nice.
there's, I see Dean is messaging us. Hey, Dean. But yeah, so we're expanding the story. You'll get to see what Carter and the Lightbringer are up against, and we'll see how well it fares out for everybody.
Nice. Now, the Lightbringer. What kind of power
Yes.
sets do they have?
So one of the original ideas is inspiring others, and I wanted to have that be kind of like shining the candle in the dark. So light is a theme that comes up quite a bit, as the thing, the searing light of justice over there would suggest, that brightness, being able to withstand a lot of damage. Being able to inspire others as a symbol is also a superpower that he has as well too. So he will encounter some things that live in the dark, and that shining brightness is going to be both a weapon and a shield. So
nice. I like it. So it's kind of like opposite the darkness in a way. Like
exactly, where it's
cool.
The flame of hope.
I like that.
So
that's nice. That's
I wanted to have subtlety to start with superpowers. No doubt, over time, it's going to build up, and eventually we'll
I
have.
like that though. That's character development. You know
exactly.
what I mean? Like people want to see these slow progressions, not just an all-in-one. Boom, here you go. You know, so
right, and that's part of the problem. I think is that, at least in the original comic, the Carter was not an inspiring person. He ran away from a woman being attacked. He did not act heroic. He was kind of cowardly. He had powers given to him without really explanation, but really didn't do anything with them. That's not heroic. Right. The original Lightbringer, he kind of got thrown down through the mud just a little bit. And he's had to, part of it is figuring it out for himself to be that inspiring person that he's not sure if he can be just yet. So we want to have story development. We want to have character development. And his counterpart, Hannah, is a little bit more mercenary than he is. She's a little bit less principled. And that path has its benefits and drawbacks as well. So I wanted to contrast the two, where, yes, the Lightbringer is an inspirational character that is a little bit more subtle and a little bit more motivating, whereas Hannah might be a little bit more direct, for better or for worse. So
it's a nice juxtaposition. It's a nice. You kind of want that. That's why the male female dynamic works well too, and stuff like that. You have that juxtaposition. You kind of want that. You want that yin yang type aspect, black and white Art Bear type thing. You know, it makes sense. You want things to play off of one another. So and let's go over some of the tiers, because we could talk about the covers then while we go over the tiers. So what is this? You got the featured tier here, and Jason's eyes are terrible, as everyone knows. So you're gonna have to bring.
Yes. So the featured tier is the Searing Light of Justice. That's going to give you everything that we offer, and it is something of like a subscription sort of thing. And by that I mean, if we offer additional pieces on the campaign, if you back that one, you will get anything further down the line that we offer. So you're not going to miss anything. Everything and anything, you're going to get the covers, the hat, the tapestries, the trading cards, the whole shebang. So last year when we did the first edition, I think we had it almost for, around 130, 140. We've dropped the price to 110. So we know that the economy is getting a little bit tough right now. So we wanted to be accessible to people. So, and that kind of gets us into the next one, where the digital tiers are there too. So if you'd prefer to again, if you're looking for a good bargain, the digital copy that we have is $6. So
you can't beat it.
It's a 32-page book. So $6, and then we also offer a digital catch-up. So I know it's a little intimidating, of course, when you start off midway through a series, but if you want to buy both the first digital copy and then the second book, we'll offer a PDF together for $10.
It's also good for international too, and so now is that an add-on at checkout?
I'm not sure.
If you don't know, it's fine. If you don't know, it's fine.
Sure
I know Anthony's helping with this.
He's the one that handles most of that.
Yeah, and he left us for Malin. Got to go to that bigger channel.
But
just kidding, Anthony.
Yeah.
Oh no, Angela left.
Uh-oh.
No, she's
Oh shoot. Sorry about
You're
that.
Back. You're okay.
I was trying to unmute and I pushed another button.
Uh-oh.
So
you're okay. I got your back. No worries. I got your back.
Appreciate that.
No worries.
So
and like you said, 110, you cut the price on that feature tier. That's great. And I know this still sounds like a lot, but everybody, if you think about what you're getting, it's a remarkable deal. And as you said, times are hard. Not everyone can get it, but if you can, get in on that, because that'll save you plenty of money. I highlighted stuff.
Yes.
Oh no! I'm not logged in, so it's fine. There we go. We're back.
There you
all right.
go.
So now, all right. So you have the digital tier. And then
if you just want to back the book, single copy of either, cover A
Now, who
and
did
cover
the
B.
covers? Yeah, who did the covers?
Yeah. So the covers are both Vic King's. So
Okay, hold on. Hey,
he was able to get those covers done for us before he had to go on to Beowar, but we are going to have a third cover at some point done by Dean. So I think it's in the works right now. So we'll kind of reveal that as we go. But for now, the single covers are just $12 a pop. So we've got the cover A.
How many pages was it again?
32.
That's a really good deal.
Yeah,
that's
so
a really good price for. Is it fully colored or is it black and white?
It's black and white. So
it's still a great deal. I mean,
yes.
that's a phenomenal deal. Yeah.
So we've got the 2 variant covers, and eventually we'll get the third one. So if you just want to just buy the standalone comic, for 12. And then we also have the trading cards. So you'll get the trading cards in the Searing Light of Justice, but we also have variant cards for the backers who signed up on the email list. We'll get another one. But if you want to get the whole set as we offer for 4 cards for 18, it's a nice way to sort of add a little booster on there too.
Nice.
And then my favorite ones though are the blacklight tapestries, because those are the cover A for a mean $20. Yep.
Nice.
And it's got the first cover on it. So again, we've dropped the prices further down. So
which, like I said, it's awesome that you guys were thinking of the customer, because we are a customer-based movement. So
exactly right. So and then some. Bro, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
For the and then for both covers for $20 too. So you'll get a little bit of a discount on there if you opt for both of those as well. So
nice. What were you gonna say, Angela?
No, I was just curious. I didn't get to back this last time. Is the first book available, or where would you find that?
Yes. So we do have a catch-up tier. It's further down the line there for a physical copy too. Yep, just beneath it. Yep, where it says the catch-up. So if you'd like to buy the first comic and then back the second one, we've got the catch-up tier. Now it is a little bit more expensive just because that was the original price for the first one during the first campaign, and we want to keep the value there for those who backed it when they did. But you'll get both of the covers, or the first copy and the second copy.
Okay, awesome.
Is that first printing of the first?
That's
first
right.
one?
It's still the first printing. Yep.
Nice.
So
cool.
the Melga hat, which was further up there, but so the story behind the Melga hat, the Make Lightbringer Great Again hat, was that the original creator of the comic eventually became aware that I was redoing it, and he ended up calling me a piece of shit because
it's
again,
public domain.
Exactly.
What do
you want? But the reason that he did that was because again, I was sort of blacklisted for voting for Trump. So we decided as a way to put sort of like a shot across the bow, we want to make Lightbringer great again. And we made it great on the first version of the comic, so we want to make it great again. So we're offering the Malga hat for $25. So
nice. And then that's also available here too, right?
Yes, the Spear of Justice is a really good one because it combines the best parts of the campaign. So you're going to get the cover, of course, the comic. You'll get the hat, and you'll also get the tapestry. So if the Searing Light of Justice is just a little too pricey for you, you can still get together what I consider to be the really good pieces of it, as well as get a trading card off of it as well. So it's a really solid deal at $55. So
that is really good. I do like trading cards. I know there's a couple people who don't. I love trading cards. They're old school collectors. So
absolutely. And we've gotten some backers or rather some other artists to provide us with some sketch cards. So both Anthony Figueroa and Doc Blaylock, who is doing he's also working with Anthony to do the, it's Mud and Blood. I forget it's like a revenge story, but it begins, I think sometime either next week or the week after, but his campaign will be going to. So Doc is graciously offered to do some sketch card drawings, and I think in return Anthony's going to do some for his campaign as well, so we can kind of merge the two over. And these are limited, so there's only 5 available of each with Anthony Figueroa as well. So
nice. Now that comes with the trading. How many trading cards? You get one sketch card. Like, what do you get with these?
Yeah, I think it's a sketch card. So there's 5 characters in the story for each of the for each of the campaigns. There'll be a card of 5 characters, and you'll have pretty much the card of that specific character. So yeah, they're limited runs.
And then you get the book with it too,
Yep.
and
So you'll get the cover A. So you'll get the card, and you'll also get the sketch cards. So
nice. Okay, cool.
if you're looking for some original art, and something that is 100% unique, then yeah, that's where you're gonna get it.
Yeah, like I said, I will be doing some as well. So
yeah.
So that'll be
And
really
then
cool.
we've got some more too, and as well as Dean is also putting together a postcard portrait. So he's offered to do those. So you can kind of get I think he is working on a few of those right now. But for now, we've got sort of an image holder for kind of the, he did Game of Thrones there, so you can kind of see what you're getting. And then lastly, we do have the original artwork. So if you want to get the original cover, if you're looking to get any original pages, those are the OG arts. So
and Dean is for a long time he's been primarily digital. So it's not not a lot of his original art is circulating around. So it's at any price in my opinion, because Dean's really good. It's a steal. So you want to get on the ground floor while you can, and the uptick on it's going to be great. Yeah, and I mean this is a great campaign. Like you got something for everybody in the tiers. Even if you're international, you could do digital if you want.
Exactly.
And,
so you can get the story too without breaking the bank on shipping.
And that's always like important, especially like you said, in today's time with the economy being the way it is. It's just extracurricular spending is at a we watch what we do.
Exactly.
So, even if you and. Once again, now if you can't back this, everybody, there's a little one. If you're watching on Facebook or on the replay and you made it this far, there's a little follow button here. You could click that if you want to back it later, and that way you'll get notifications on updates, and it'll kind of remind you, hey, oh, that's right, I wanted to get Lightbringer too. Also share this out if you can't back it, or even if you don't want to, but you know somebody that might. Share out the campaign on your social media platforms. Spread the word. Word of mouth is huge in the indie comic scene and in Comicsgate. It really, like Absolute 2 did as well as it did because of word of mouth. So that is huge amongst us. And everyone check out Lightbringer because I love Anthony. Liz is great. And
thank you.
Oh, yeah, you're great. Yeah, you're welcome. And this Dean's awesome. I mean, you got great heavy hitters on this campaign. So it's a fantastic book. Everybody go check it out. And while you're over there, make sure you also go check out Frog G. That's my book with ink spots and Frog G. Everybody, back it if you can. But we're here for Lightbringer. Right? I'm supposed to shill our product too. So.
Of course.
So Angela, do you have any questions for Liz?
Yeah, I was just curious. I know you mentioned earlier about tabletop games. Do you have any future aspiration of making a book that could be a tabletop game? Or
I was actually that earlier. Yeah, it's a good question.
100%, absolutely, yes, I do.
Awesome.
So what I realized is that when it comes to doing tabletop games, it's a lot more expensive. The amount of art that you have to put through, the physical assets, the gameplay testing, you're looking at a much larger campaign size, as well as going for kind of a more specialized niche. So what I wanted to do ideally is continue to build an audience. And I'm thinking that maybe sometime either after this campaign or even potentially during it, if I've got the time, I'd really like to start up maybe doing YouTube again, just so I can build that audience. Because right now I've got in the works, it has been where I mentioned earlier for vampire related stuff. I do have a vampire style tabletop RPG that elements of the Lightbringer universe are present with this particular game. And I'm also kind of working on a Bronze Age collapse style tabletop game as well. So these are things that, like I mentioned, it's going to require a lot more art assets and a lot more of a financial investment. So that's definitely on my to-do list, but I'm absolutely wanting to do that.
Do you know who Luke Stone is?
I don't.
Luke
Tell me
Stone is
more.
Luke Stone's been in Comicsgate for a long time. He has not Lightbringer. He has hybrids. He has Rift Riders with Piper, who's in the chat as well.
Okay.
And he also right now he has a tabletop role playing game campaign attached to hybrids that's on Indiegogo. So he does do role playing games. So maybe he's somebody you could hit up. Is Luke Stone?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and he's actually putting together a crowdfunding website also for it's called
Yes, I have heard of him.
That's Luke Stone. So
that's the guy. Okay,
that's the guy. Hit him up. You bounce some ideas off of him because that way you can get prepared ahead of time. Maybe he can help you out and help you promote it. So
definitely,
build
yeah.
up the world and the all the stuff that goes into it. So
absolutely. There's a lot that goes into a tabletop game. So I actually did know a independent developer who did an indie game as well for tabletop. So it's something there. So
yeah, the vampire tabletop game sounds fantastic. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Ravenloft.
So anyway, that
Back in the
really...
day, there was Ravenloft.
Ravenloft, it was the D&D version of it.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Oh, well, perfect. I'll have to pass that along to Anthony there, Wolverine. So,
what do you say?
I have an open invitation on the Monday morning mayhem.
yeah. Definitely hit them up. That's at 2 a.m. Eastern. So I don't know, where you reside.
Yeah,
but
I do have a normal job, but that is the sort of thing. If I can make it, I would absolutely do that.
But Anthony might be able to make it. So
yes,
that's with Michael T, Frog G, and Wolverine. They're on there. They have a good time. They talk comics and and current events too. I mainly focus more on the art things and the art side of things, and we delve into the pop culture thing and stuff like that. So, because I'm an artist, that's what I like.
100%.
Yeah. So, anything else, Angela, you might think of, or chat that you have any questions for Liz about Lightbringer or anything? Let us know real quick.
Okay. I had a lot of fun, and Wolverine. I might just have to drag out of bed and do that.
I don't know if there's any mods in the chat. Liz, what's your YouTube?
Well, presently, my YouTube is more just a shell that I do posting on. I don't really host any content there, but if you are interested, it's at the Iron Liz. The
Iron Liz. Okay. And
I've been posting it in the chat. So.
Oh, thank you, Angela. Is that your Twitter as well? Because I couldn't find it.
I actually do not have Twitter anymore.
No, you're better off. You're better off.
Yes.
Yeah. I post and bail half the time. I will go through, look at pretty pictures and like and share, but that's about it. I don't.
Right. I kind of had to cut the cable for social media because it was not helping my life at all. So that's why I like having Anthony, is that he's able to handle all that stuff. So
and I am broadcasting to Facebook as well. So if you like this, go check out Lightbringer if you're a comic fan, and or share it out to somebody you know likes comic books. So Angela is on Twitter. I don't know if you want people to know about that.
I'm on the Twitter.
But Angela's great. I can't thank her enough for helping out. She's been a great help today, highlighting everybody.
My pleasure.
If there's questions. I appreciate it. So links are in the description below for a lot of people, and then pinned over there is Lightbringer 2 as well. So go check out Lightbringer, everybody. Get it up there. Get funded. And I'm going to play out the outro. So thanks for watching, everybody. Like, share, subscribe. And have a great day.
It was a pleasure to meet you both.
You as well. Stick
great
around.
To meet you, Liz.
Don't go nowhere, everybody.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Cool.